Giantslayers TV. We're here now with Pastor Kerry Lira from Ministerios Nueva, Vida in Lubbock, Texas. Pastor Kerry, I know with you, we've been through a lot as far as, you've been one of the people that I could text with anything. Yeah, I know if I told you anything, Pastor Kerry, you would never judge me. You would never look at me different. Sure. Unless we're talking about the Heat and the Oklahoma City Thunder, that's a different conversation there. Yeah. But as you can see, he's a Heat fan, I'm a Thunder fan. We come together as one.
Yes.
Pastor Kerry, how is it this year with you being here this year for this youth conference? How do you feel?
Man, I'm going to tell you something. Like, when me and Andrew got here, when we walked in, when we saw the front, it was just like, whoa, man. Like, just for setup purposes, let's just start there. It was just amazing. When I walked in and how y'all shifted everything, I was just blown away, man. I was telling Pastor D earlier how it's getting better every year that we've come.
I was just telling Pastor Junior and Pastor Parker earlier, it's like every year, it's like, how do you top this next year? How do you even get something together with our team that we have? How do you even incorporate something better than this? That's why I'm like, man, the animosity of everything, the build of everything, we start setting up on Sunday. We stole the Rent-A-Center van, the Rent-A-Center truck to load everything up. And I kid you not, Pastor Kerry, we set everything up in like 2 hours? That's awesome. 2 or 3 hours. When you still take us to 1 in the morning, we got out like at 9:30 that day on Sunday. And it was just fast. Like everything, we have so many people that are willing to help. Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest keys to a youth ministry.
Yeah, for sure.
We've seen your ministry flourish over these last few years. I remember the first one that we went to, wasn't very many people, but your adults showed up. Your adults show up, and now I see pictures, man. We pay attention to that little stuff, man. We pay attention to little pictures, man. I see how them kids are all over you, Pastor Kerry. And one thing for sure that I can tell you guys is Pastor Kerry really does have a heart for the kids of Lubbock. He has a heart for the kids of Plainview. He has a heart for any kind of teenager. He has a heart. So if you guys can go and follow him on Instagram, follow Pastor Kerry Lira on Facebook. Man, if you have prayer requests, this would be the guy to go to. And I promise he would take the time to call you. Doesn't matter what time it is, doesn't matter what you're going through. This would be the one guy to go through. But Pastor Kerry, we just heard you speak just now. Yeah. We heard you speak just now. And one of the things you were talking about was David and Goliath. Yeah. There's some people out there that are probably watching on YouTube. They really don't know, some of the points that you hit. You might want to give them a little summary of what you were talking about, because I know you said that David kind of just took command and Saul was, asking the whole army, which the army was full of men, right? That's what the Bible, shows. Where it was full of grown men, and a young teen steps out of nowhere and says, "I'll do it." Yeah. Everybody laughs at him. Can you give us a brief summary of what you were talking about?
Really, really emphasized on being a misfit, man. And for us back in our youth ministry back home, that's like a name we really adopted. And a misfit is someone who is uncomfortable with his or her surroundings. But beyond just being uncomfortable, they do something about it. Yeah. And I just shared about some things that make me uncomfortable. Like, this will lead up to it. But, I talked about how doing teenage funerals makes me uncomfortable, man. Like, it's hard. The first one I ever did, a 13-year-old kid, it was not easy, and it made me uncomfortable. It's like, man, I don't want to bury teenagers no more. It's just a kid. And so I look at David's life and how he was just a kid, and he had older brothers in this army. Yeah. And it's crazy because Goliath comes and he starts mocking God, he starts mocking the army, he starts mocking everybody. And the entire army for 40 straight days, man, had no backbone, they were cowards about it, just sat back and let him do this. Wow. And everyone was like, this is wrong, but they were not going to do something about it. And you got David, this kid who shows up on the scene, man. He just hears Goliath mocking God, number one. I would guarantee that's what set him off the biggest. Mocking the army, mocking his king, mocking his family, his people. And he just steps us, wait a minute, there's something not right about this. Who the heck does this guy think he is? Yeah. And from there, man, it's just crazy how word gets to Saul. And he comes in there and he's with Saul. I said, "Hey, Saul, don't even worry about it. I'll go fight him." Wow. And I love that. I love how the Bible says that, man. He's like, "Hey, don't worry about it. I got it. I'll take care of this guy." Like, really? And I love how it goes into the scriptures, how it says that, when Goliath came out to meet David, like David ran at Goliath. Like, he wasn't timid at all. I guess he was running, he was grabbing the stones and starting ready. And, it's just so awesome how David, he was uncomfortable with something, but he did something about it. And I believe that there's a generation of teenagers who see things around them that make them uncomfortable. Yeah. Teen pregnancy, drug usage, all that kind of stuff. But they've never made the decision to cross the line and do something about it. And I believe that there's a generation of kids here all over the world who are saying, you know what? I want to do something about it. Yeah. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah. And see, like in my family, my whole family is Catholic.
Sure.
Okay. And there's nothing wrong with being Catholic. I'm just saying my whole family is Catholic. But me, I guess it was just me in general. I never really got, into the whole church thing. We did a first communion, first confirmation, all that stuff. But I never learned, and then that's why, I kind of, I guess you could say, was a misfit because I said, you know what? Like, no longer is my family, the people who come after me, going to keep just being mediocre. I'm just saying that's the way I grew up, seeing that. And everything that you just said about David, I kind of, when you were speaking, I kind of put myself in that realm. And I think everybody's been down that road to where we've always been, in a certain place. And we say, you know what, I'm going to make my life better because of this. Can you share with them how you were before, how you didn't have a house, how you didn't have nothing? Can you tell them about how you guys, like, I'm dead serious when I say this, he had a car given to him. That's why I'm like, it's crazy how God has taken us through a transformation. Can you just tell them, there's somebody out there right now that's watching and they're probably like, man, but I don't have a house, I don't have a car, I don't have nobody who cares about me. Pretty much a misfit that wants to change, but they don't know where to start.
For me, man, I remember those 3 years. I didn't have a home. I slept on the floor for 3 years.
Where at, Kerry? Like, what floor?
A lot of the times it was my parents' living room, man. It was hard. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was sleeping on the floor. I didn't have a car, so
no
I was
bed,
walking.
No nothing, floor.
Man, no couch, no nothing. And it was like a floor like this, man. No lie. I had a pillow and a blanket, man. And for 3 years, man, I did that. And I didn't have a car, so I would take the city bus. And I'm not gonna lie, man. It was like one of those things, like, and it's nothing against people who take the city bus, but the route that I would take into the neighborhood I was going to, a lot of poverty, man. And it can really eat at your mind, like, man, is this how it's gonna end? Is this how it's gonna end up for me? Like, I can't, like, and so, like, for the longest time, man, in those 3 years of basically not being quote unquote homeless and not having really anything, man, is when I really dove into the scriptures, man. When I was on that bus, man, I would really dig deep into the scriptures, and when I was laying, a lot of people see the office I have now. It's literally the biggest office out of all the pastors in our church.
Wow.
But a lot of people don't notice, man, but I was doing quote unquote sermons in my parents' garage. Wow. When it was snowing outside, it was freaking cold. A lot of people don't know I was doing sermons in that garage when it was like 100 degrees outside, sweating like.
In Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah, and it's just, a lot of people don't see a lot of stuff like that, but in all honesty, bro, like, what helped me get through all that, like, Peter walking on water was keeping my eyes on Jesus, man. Yeah. It's so true. In our weakness, He's our strength, man, in all honesty. And He literally carried me because there's no way I could have been on my own, man, in all honesty. His words, like, literally penetrated my heart and give me the strength. And I'll be honest with you, man, like, my parents were really not supportive of me, of course, getting into the ministry and stuff like that. And, how God just basically brought everything together, a home, a car, everything is just, it's amazing how God, it's all God, man. I wish I could say that this was the way it went down, but man, God works in mysterious ways, in all honesty, and how he worked it out for me. I like to share that hope with people, man. No matter where you are, no matter how low you are at with no hope, man, God can bring you up. Yeah. The Bible teaches that His arm is not too short and stuff like that. So,
and I really feel like during that time when you were going through, being homeless, not having a car and stuff, I really think that you were like a misfit. You really were a misfit because you said, you know what? I'm tired of my surroundings. I'm tired of being in poverty. I'm tired of just being the Kerry that everybody knows. I'm tired of being the Kerry that's riding the bus. I want to separate myself, and that's why it's crazy because I think everybody at some point in time has been a misfit and they don't even realize it. The way you said, and it all leads back to David and Goliath.
Yeah, for sure, man.
See, because he could have sat around. Yeah. Now, there's a lot of people out there. It's a coincidence. He killed Goliath. Yeah. There's people that argue. There's theologists that are like, he probably hit him in the temple, stuff like that, man. But he's probably just like you, the way Pastor Kerry just said. there's no way that you could have done this without who.
Yeah, without God.
And I think that's the way, when you were talking about David and Goliath, I think that's the way David was like, I don't know how I did it. I just pulled the slingshot tag and I let it go, and it happened.
Yeah.
I could have never done it without him.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And, another question that I got for you, Kerry, is I know you come every year. How long have you been coming to
this? This is our 5th year this year.
5th year coming. The first year when you came, how was it?
Man, I'm not gonna lie, it was something different because you gotta understand, man. Like I lived in Houston for a few years, so I used to work in a camp.
Yeah.
But one thing that I loved about when I first came here, because like I've seen a lot of different churches do camps and conferences. What I loved when I walked into the first one was like there was something different in the atmosphere. Like you saw people who really, number one, loved God and loved people. And there's a lot of people who do stuff like this just because of the show. You know what I'm saying? You know, and for the first time it was like, man, like these people really love God. They love people. They really, you know, you got people saying hi to people and stuff like that. It was just a different atmosphere. Yeah. So man, it was from the first one we came to, it's been awesome, and it's just gotten better every single year. So.
And it's awesome, Kerry, that we even have you here because I kid you not, everybody in our youth ministry here at GSYM, everybody's like, as soon as you walk in, man, everybody's like, this Pastor Kerry. Like, that's how much influence you have. I know Pastor David, he's like, man, he goes, there's no bigger fan of GSYM's youth conference than the guy who's sitting right here on this couch with me. And the thing is, there's no bigger fans of Kerry Lira. And of course, I know your youth ministry supports you, man. I know they back you, but I promise you, there's nobody here who loves Pastor Kerry Lira more than GSYM.
Yeah, I love
and your passion for people, your passion to teach is second to none, man. We love you. Yeah, man. We're glad you're here. But what's one thing this year? One thing, Pastor Kerry, this year that has really stood out to you for the youth conference? What's one thing? I know you barely got here this morning, but what's one thing? Because I already know it's probably gonna be the props, what you said. But what's one thing that really stood out this year?
Well, definitely the props, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. The next level creativity.
Yeah.
Like seriously, dude. Like seeing, like I said, man, you don't see a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Yeah. Like there's Aaron right there. You know what I'm saying? My boy Aaron.
You don't see
no,
Drew,
man. Like
you don't see Drew right here.
Drew right there. You know what I'm saying? No, man. Seriously, like the creativity that you guys, you know, and I'm not being disrespectful, but a lot of people would be like, playing Texas. You know what I'm saying? But like the creativity out of this group here, man, is unbelievable. Like I said, to me, the biggest thing is the passion, dude. Y'all's passion every year is like on another level. Like seriously, man, and that's one reason why I love being here. You know, the people here are awesome. But honestly, man, one thing I look at is like I said, man, the creativity. Like you walk in, it's just like, dang, this is tight, man, for real.
And it's crazy, man, because we put a lot of hours in. Yeah. I know me, I had to work, you know, these past few days, but I kid you not, man, I would get here at 8 o'clock at night. And people were like, yeah, we've been here since 9 this morning. We've been here since 8 this morning. I was like, are you freaking crazy? Like, what are y'all doing? Like, it's crazy, you know, how long they've been here. Yeah. But one last question for you, Pastor Kerry. I've asked every pastor. I saw a quote on Facebook. I know you kind of heard me going over it. Is they said, if you could tell the old you before, you know, you became, you know, Christian and stuff, two words that would help you through life, or help you get over some of the humps and obstacles that you go through, what would it be? Mine, I told myself, be wise. Like if I could tell my 13-year-old me, or anybody who's out there that's kind of following my footsteps, who's struggling, or anybody who's out there thinking about becoming, you know, a Christian, or anybody who's just saying, you know what, I don't believe in Christ, but what kind of advice would you give me? I would say be wise. Be wise in the people you hang out with. Be wise in the people that you surround yourself with. Be wise the advice that you get. Be wise who speaks into your life. That's one of the biggest things. I don't allow a lot of people to speak into my life, but be wise. That's one of my biggest things. Your people are watching. There's some people out there that want to know what would be 2 words that you would tell your young you back in the day.
Oh man, head up.
Head up.
I mean, I think in life there's teenagers who are always got their head down.
Yeah.
They always look depressed.
And then we wonder why we
myself. Yeah, and myself specifically, man. Like I think looking back when I would make a mistake, I might head down. And because of it, it kind of like takes us deeper and deeper and deeper. And always keep your head up, man. For the young lady who's lost her virginity, keep your head up. For the young man who's, you know, got locked up, keep your head up.
Come on.
You know, for the, you know, whatever it is, man, keep your head up. You know, and what I mean by that is like literally head up on God. because He guides your path, man. And that's what I mean by that. You know, there's always hope, man. There's always hope. So yeah, be head up, bro.
Pastor Kerry, it was nice speaking with you. Hey, you're coming every year now.
Every year, man.
Every
always,
year.
Dude.
Pastor Kerry, he is probably the face of Lubbock, Texas. I'm glad we have you, man.
Yeah.
Giantslayers TV.